Hi, folks. In honor of the birth of Robert Burns, National Poet of Scotland, I will take a shot at reading Tam O'Shanter, a poem about an old drunk running afoul of witches. When shopman biddies leave the street and doughy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late, and folk begin to take the gate, while we sit bowsing at the nappy, and get full and unco happy, we think not on long Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps, and stiles that lie between us and our home, where sits our sulky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. The truth fond honest Tam O'Shanter, as he frae hour all night did canter, old hour when ne'er a town surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. Old Tam had still but been so wise as ta'en thy own wife Kate's advice. She told thee well thou wert a skillum, a blitherin', blusterin', drunken bellum, that from November till October at market day thou not was sober, that ilka melder with the miller thou sat as long as thou had siller. At every nag was Kate a shoe on, the smith and thee got roaring foo on. Then at the lots, that at the Lord's house, even on Sunday, thou drank with Kirkton Jean till Monday. She prophesied that later soon thou would be found deep drowned in Doon, or catched with warlocks in the mirk by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Ah, gentle dames, it gars me sweet to think how many counsels sweet, how many lengthened sage advice thy husband from the wife despise. But to our tale. At market night Tam had got planted unco right, fast by an eagle breezing finely, while reaming swats that danced divinely, and at his elbow Salter Johnny, his ancient trusty doughty crony. Tam lo'ed him like a verra brother. They had been fell for weeks together. The night drove on with songs and clatter, and aye the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tom grew gracious, with secret favors, sweet and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories, the landlord's laugh was ready chorus, the storm without might roar and rustle. Tam did not mind the storm or whistle. Care, mad to see a man so happy, in drown himself among the nappy, as bees flame home with lades of treasure, the minutes wing their way of pleasure. Kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all the frills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies o'erspread, you seize the flower its bloom is shed, or like the snow falls in the river, a moment white, then melts forever, or like the borealis race, that flit ere you can point their place, or like the rainbow's lovely form, evanishing amid the storm. Nay, man can tether time nor tide, the hour approaches Tam mun ride. That hour, oh night's black arch the key stain, that dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and such a night he takes the road in, as ne'er poor sinner were brought in. The wind blew as 'twas blowing its last, the rafting showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams the darkness swallowed, loud, deep, and long the thunder bellowed. That night a child might understand the devil had business on his hand. Will mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelped on through dub and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst holding fast his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning o'er some old Scotch sonnet, while glowering round with prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirk Alloway was drawing nigh, where ghosts and harlots nightly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford, where in the snow the chapmen smored, and past the birks and maple stand, where drunken Charlie breaks neck bane, and through the winds and by the cairn, where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well, where Mungo's mither hanged herself. Before here doom poured all his floods, the doubling storm roars through the woods. The lightnings flash from pole to pole, near and more near the thunders roll, when glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirk Alloway seemed in the breeze. Though it is, Though ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing, inspiring John Borley Corn, what dangers thou canst make us scorn. With twopenny we fear not evil, with Usquaby we'll face the devil. The swats sae reamed in Tammy's noodle, fair play, he cared not devils a boodle. But Maggie stood right stare astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished, she ventured on toward the light, and well Tom saw an uncouth sight. Warlocks and witches in a dance, no cotillion Brant knew from France, but hornpipes, jigs, strathsperries, and reels put knife and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there settled Nick in shape a beast. A trowsy tyke, black, grim, and large, to give them music was his charge. He screed the pipes and gart them skirl, till roof and rafters did dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses, that show the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrap slate, each in its cold hand held a light, by which heroic Tam was able to note upon the holy table a murderer's banes in giblet airns, twice spread link, wee unchristened bairns. Not Usquaby, but coffee. A thief knee cutted from the rape, with his last gape this gape did cape. 5 tomahawks with blood red crusted, 5 scimitars with murder crusted. A garter which a babe had strangled, a knife a father's throat had mangled, whom his own son a life bereft, the grey hairs yet stacked to the heft, with more a horrible and awful, which even to name would be unlawful. Requires a second drink. And Tammy glowered, amazed and curious. The mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew. The dancers quick and quicker flew. They reeled, they set, they crossed, they cleat, till ilka carlin swat and reeked, and cost her duddies to the wark, and linked at it in her sark. Now Tam, old Tam, had they been queens, a pumpin' strapling in their teens, their sarks, instead of crushy flannen, had been snow white 1700 linen. Their breeks o' mine, my only pair, that once were plush of good blue hair, I would ha' given them awfully hurdles, for I blink o' the bonny birtles, but withered beldames, old and droll, ringwood hags wad spina foal, loping and flinging on a crummock, I wonder did not turn thy stomach. But Tam kenned what was full brawly. There was one winsome witch in Whalley that night enlisted in the corps, long after kenned on Carrick shore. For many a beast to dead she shot, and perished many a bonny boat, and shook baith men and corn and bear, and cut the countryside in fear. Her Cutty Sark a Paisley harn, that while a tassel she had worn, in longitude, though scarcely scanty, it was her best, and she was vaunty. I little ken thy reverend granny, that sark she cloft for her wee Nanny, with £2 Scots, 'twas her riches, would ever graze a dance of witches. But hear my muse her wingman count, such flights are far beyond her power, to sing how Nappy lapped and flang, a supple jawed she was and strang, and how Tam stood like one bewitched, even though his very een enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged full fain, and hooched and blew with might and main, till first a caper, then another, Tam tent his reason altogether, and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant all was dark, and scarcely had he Maggie rallied, when out the hellish region sagged, as bees blitz out with angry fyke, when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pussy's mortal flow, when pop she starts before their nose, as eager runs the market crowd, when catch the thief resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, with many an eldritch screech and hollow. Ah, Tam, they'll get their Theron, in hell they'll roast thee like a heron. In vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman. Now do thy speedy utmost, Meg, and win the keystone of the brig. There at them now my tale may cross, a running stream they dare not cross. But ere the keystone she could make, the feet a tail she had to shake, for Nanny far before the rest hard upon noble Maggie pressed, and flew at Tam with furious ettle, but little wist she Maggie's mettle. A spring brought off her master Hale, but left behind her own grey tail. The carlin caught her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now when this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother's son take heed. Whene'er to drink you are inclined, or Cutty Sarks run in your mind, think ye may buy the joys too dear, remember Tam O'Shanter's mare. Yes, don't drink and don't chase women in short skirts.